Shalom friends, welcome to another Shear in Mesillat Yesharim, the path of the just, famous classical Musar work written by the Ramchal. I'm Eliyahu Shear from Chesed Ve'emet. You can find my site on www.lovingkindness.co. We're still in the introduction of this fantastic work, which is basically teaching us how to improve ourselves as human beings on every single level possible. As I like to say, we're working on ourselves as human beings towards ourselves. We've got to get ourselves right. We've got to become accepting of ourselves and to know what our limitations are and how far we can go also. We need to also develop our relationships with our fellow man, and we also need to create a great relationship with God. And these are the teachings that we get out of these books, such as these books as the Ramchal writes over here, books of Musar. Now, those of you who have been listening to the previous Shiurim might have thought that perhaps the Ramchal had some sort of opposition to studying the Talmud in depth and various other things. I just want to clarify at the beginning of this Shiur that the Ramchal was a great, great man. He was a great sage, and he was also an authority in all areas of Torah. He was certainly familiar with the Talmud and was absolutely fluent in every part of the Talmud. He also wrote two fantastic works. One work which is called Derech Chochmah, the way of wisdom, which is translated by Rabbi Yitzhak Spring. If you can get a copy of it, you certainly should. Or alternatively, you can read it in the original Hebrew. It's available even online. And in this book, he teaches us the path to studying Torah. And he goes through from the very basics of the importance of learning the Chumash and learning the Mishnah and learning the Talmud. He teaches us all these things. And another great work that the Ramchal wrote is called Derek Tevuna, which is also has a translation available, which is known as the Ways of Reason. And in this work, he gives us a comprehensive understanding of the language of the Talmud and how to understand the debates and the discussions of the Talmud. It is a fantastic work. It is very complicated. It is highly intense and intensive in every respect. And anybody reading both of these books will clearly see that the Ramchal was a lover of all areas of Torah. But when we read the introduction of this work of the Mesillat Yesharim, the one thing that comes out at this point in time is that the Ramchal wants to point out, don't fall into the trap of becoming so involved in other areas of Torah that one comes to forget how to improve oneself as a human being. That's the difference. How do I improve myself as a human being? Sometimes I can get so involved in the halakhic discussion, in the Talmud, then I forget my behavior. You can have a person, for example, who could be studying Talmud and could be kicking somebody underneath the table while he is busy studying the Talmud. And he's not worried about it. What happened to him? How can it be that he's kicking the person under the table and at the same time he's studying the words of the Talmud? Because if a person doesn't internalize the words of the Talmud, he can become so enwrapped with the logics that he thinks of himself as being a wise person only because he has mastered the text of the Talmud. Well, this isn't sufficient. We need to work on ourselves to develop as great human beings. And we use all the parts of the Torah to develop ourselves in that direction. And this is what we're talking about where we left off last time. We said that how important it was to learn how to fear God. And this is what he was saying here. If we do not look into and analyze what is true fear of God and what are its branches, how can we ever acquire it? And how can we ever save ourselves from the worldly vanities which causes our heart to be forgetful of it? Will it not be forgotten and go away, even though we recognize its necessity? People who don't pay attention to what it means to fear God are going to lose out on what it really means to fear God. And now he continues. And he brings us, as the Zohar will say, as the Tanya will teach us, the second wing of the bird, which is ha'ahava, love. There are two wings on the bird, love and fear. You can perform mitzvahs as much as you want to. You can study Torah as much as you want to. But this is like a bird without wings. And if we don't put the wings on, the Torah that we learn remains in this world. It never gets elevated. When is it elevated with this bird? When we put the wings onto the bird. And the wings are the concept of the love and fear of God. Ha'ava. We have to work on our love. Kamoke, likewise. If we don't put in the effort to fix into our hearts, bekoach, kol ha'imtza'im, with the strength of every means that will bring us to what this love is. How will we find it in us? How will we ever get to love Hashem, love others, and even love ourselves if we don't put the effort into working on ourselves to develop this love? Where will we get this aspect of cleaving and this fire and this passion in our souls? Imo yisparach, to be with Hashem, ve'im Torato, and His Torah. Im lo nish'e el gedulaso, unless we turn to God's greatness, ve'el romamutzo, and to His other greatness, His power and His greatness, asher yolid milibenu, that it will be born through our hearts, hadvekus hazeh, this cleaving. We're looking to cleave to Hashem. That's the name of the game. We're not looking here to master the Torah so that we can recite a page of Talmud off by heart. I mean, let's not forget here for a second, in days gone by, well known was the story of the pin test. The pin test was a test that when a young man was getting ready to marry a young lady, he would have to approach his future father-in-law, who would do a test with him to see whether or not he was capable of leading, of running a family, of knowing what it means to have a Jewish home. And how would he test him? He would take a pin. This is the famous pin test. He would take a pin, and in front of the prospective Khatan, the groom-to-be, he would take the pin and place it through one of the letters in the Talmud, in one of the Gemaras, and he would ask the young man which letters the pin had gone through. And if the young man could recite which the letters were, proving that he clearly knew exactly what was going on those pages of Talmud off by heart, the man would say, the prospective father-in-law would say to the prospective son-in-law, yes, you are a deserving son-in-law for my daughter. This is how people would study Torah. There are indeed many people that study Torah this way today also. And of course, everybody should strive to be able to study Torah in a way that it becomes so much a part of him that he knows it off by heart. But that is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is the devekas to Hashem, cleaving to Hashem, love and fear, having a relationship with God, and using those tools, the knowledge that we gain from the Talmud text, in order to develop that relationship. Let's be clear for a moment. All the secrets, the deepest secrets of Torah, are included in the Talmud. All of the secrets of improving our behavior are included in the Talmud. But many of us don't pay attention to the subtleties of the stories that are being told. And we read it as a story. And when it's finished, we close the book and we forget the story. So we need somebody like the Ramchal in the Mesillat Yesharim to wake us up and to tell us those are not just stories. We need to pay attention to what the words say so that we'll begin to develop the love and the fear of Hashem and ultimately be able to cleave to Hashem and reach high levels of being close and experiencing what divinity really is, what godliness really is. This is not a world where we are supposed to be separated from God. We are still supposed to connect with God. But unfortunately, as we've been learning in the Tanya, sometimes we see when people commit Aveiros, that the Aveiros separate us from Hashem. But our mission is to cleave to Hashem and to feel Hashem's presence even in this world. How will we purify our thoughts? Unless we strive to clean it. Min hamumim, we have to clean our minds from all the blemishes. Shematil bahateva gufani, that the nature of the physical body imposes upon us. The physical body brings to us all sorts of thoughts and ideas of things that we should be doing that ultimately distract us from our real task of cleaving to Hashem. V'hamidas kula matzrikas kamokein tikun vayeshara. And all our attributes, all of them are in need likewise of correction, and everything should be absolutely upright and correct. Working on oneself is a full-time job. As we said before, in the nature of the Sefirot, we have 3 Sefirot which pertain to the Mochin, to the intelligence and intellect, and we have 7 Sefirot down below which relate to the emotions: Chesed, kindness, Gevura, strength, holding back, tiferes, beauty, truth, whatever we want to talk about. And what we have to do is we have to master them so that we become like God with those very attributes. We imitate God with the very attributes that he has, we put into ourselves. For those interested, there is a book that is written entirely on the subject. It is a book on Musar and Kabbalah, written by no less an authority than Rav Moshe Cordovero. This book is known as the Tomer Devorah, the palm tree of Devorah. One can obtain it in the Hebrew, obviously, and there is an English translation available as well. It is a very mystical book as well as a very down-to-earth book, all at the same time. Coming up now, we're not so far away from the Yortzeit of the Ramchal, where we found ourselves at this, of the Ramak, where we found ourselves at this point in time. And for those who want to, certainly try to obtain this book and start learning it, perhaps to finish it already by the time of his Yortzeit. Now, in the book written by the Ramak, known as the Tomer Devorah, he explains exactly how to repair ourselves in accordance with the attributes that we have as we are created in the image of God. We begin to learn what Chesed really is as it pertains to God, so that we can internalize it as it pertains to ourselves. Gevurah, as it pertains to God, so we can internalize it and make it a part of ourselves. We need to repair all of our midot. These are indeed the 7 lowest sefirot, which are called the midot. Mi Yesharim, who is going to set them straight? Or mi yataknam, and who is going to correct them? Im lo nasim lev alehem, unless we put our own effort in, we pay attention to these things. And if we don't put in a precision to be of a very great degree, if we're not going to put in that precision to get ourselves right, who's going to do it for us? Nobody will do it for us. We'll end up studying the Talmud. We'll know it backwards. We'll do the pin test. We'll know everything. We'll be able to answer all the questions in the examination. We'll do the Daf Yomi. We'll write all the examinations. We'll get 100% for it and still know nothing about what the halacha is. Still know nothing how to internalize and to manifest what the reality of what we're learning is all about in the reality that we need to manifest it in. Hello, surely. If we will put in to contemplate on this matter with a truthful contemplation, we will bring it out to its truth, and we will make ourselves better. And not only will we become better, because the nature of the concept of what we're talking about in terms of the light that we get from this is that the light that we begin to manifest within ourselves spills over. And in the end, we get to teach others as well. And therefore we bring benefit for them also. Gamkein also. This is what King Solomon said in the book of Mishlei, Perik Beis, Pasuk Daled. This means chapter 2, verse 4. If you will search it out like silver. What's he referring to? Search out the Torah. Search out Yirat Shamayim, fear of God. We need to search for it like we search for silver. V'kamat moinim tekapsena, and search for it like treasures. As tavin yirat Hashem, then you will understand the fear of Hashem. How do we get to understand what it means to fear God? We have to search for it. Fearing God is not a simple matter. We don't just open up a chumash and read the Bible and suddenly we become God-fearing. We do not become God-fearing because we go to shul every now and again and we daven in the minyan, very nice. That doesn't make us God-fearing. God-fearing is when it's every single moment of the day that a person is in respect of God, in awe of God. He's almost trembling, but trembling in a positive way, where he begins to experience, hold on a second, I'm actually in the presence of God. It's like, for example, perhaps you've gone to the neighbors once in a while and you've knocked on the door and you've looked up at the top somewhere and you notice there's a video camera and you're on camera, you're being filmed. You have to be very careful. You know that whatever you're going to do over here is being filmed and people are watching you. Maybe they're watching you right now. Maybe they'll watch you at the end of the day when they come home from work. Whatever it is, they're watching you. Once you become aware that somebody's watching, we have to be careful of what we do, because if we get caught out, we might be in trouble. Now a person becomes aware of God, and he says, God is watching me. He's aware of my every action. I have to be careful in what I do. Now, how does a person get to that Yirat Shamayim? He has to search for it. He has to look in all the texts. He has to look in all the books until he finds all the stories that give him the influence and the encouragement to know exactly what it is that he needs to do. And then he suddenly uncovers the treasure. Just like a person would go to the beach, or he would go to a stranded area, and he would begin to dig and dig and dig because he heard that there was some treasure there. And he wouldn't give up. And he continued looking until he finds it. When he finds it, he knows that this is the treasure. So too, when a person is searching for Yirat Shamayim, for the fear of God, it doesn't come about from a superficial reading of the Talmud. It comes about through the intensive study until we become so in awe of what it is that we're doing, so involved in it, that as we go further and further, deeper and deeper, we suddenly start to realize, here it is. Here's the fear of Hashem. Now I understand what it's about. Eino Omer. It does not say. He didn't say. King Solomon didn't say. As tavin philosophia. Then you will understand philosophy. As tavin tchuna. Then you will understand astronomy. As tavin refuah. Then you will understand medicine. Right? We're talking about here. You have to search for for silver, like you're searching for silver and for treasures. Then you will find the fear of Hashem. When you go about things in this way, you're not going to find philosophy. You're not going to find astronomy. You're not going to find medicine. As tavin dinim, then you're going to understand laws. As tavin halachot, then you'll understand halachot. Shlomo HaMelech doesn't tell us about these things. Learn your philosophy. Understand astronomy, fantastic. Understand medicine, but if we want Yirat Shamayim, that comes from this intensive search. Ella, but rather as tavin Yirat Hashem, then you will understand the fear of God. Harelecha. So you see, shelahavin hayira. In order to understand fear, tzarich levakesh osa kakesef. One has to search for fear as if one is searching for silver. And we have to search for it like we are looking for treasures. Hadai eifo. Is it sufficient then for us that we're accustomed in a way, from our forefathers, and what is known well, by every person in a general way? Is it sufficient then what we have been taught by our forefathers? No, it is not sufficient. We ourselves have to put in the effort to search for this Yirat Shamayim. Or here's another way to look at it. Is it that we can find time for everything? For all other things that we want to learn. And when it comes to learning this subject, fear of Hashem, love of Hashem, Yirat Shamayim, we don't have time for this. We're so busy learning halachot, we're so busy learning Talmud, and we're so busy learning secular subjects that we can't find any time to learn the things that are closest to us, to help us improve and to become really good quality human beings. Lama lo yikba adam la'atzmo itim. Why does a person not fix for himself times? Lefachot, at least, lehistaklut hazeh, to take a look at this. Im mukrahu b'she'eritzmano, if he has to, in the rest of the time that he has available, lefanot el iyunim or asakim achirim, that he can give over his own time to all other matters and all other occupations. If he can find the time to do other things, he needs to set aside time to work on himself and improve himself as a human being. We've run out of time today. That was our time to learn. Hopefully we'll have another Shear where we'll learn this again. I thank you very much for joining me. I'm Eliyahu Shear from Chesed Ve'emet. My site, www.lovingkindness.co. Thanks for taking part in this shiur and watching it. If you've enjoyed it, please like the video, share it. Please click on the bell button, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell button, be notified of further shiurim. Please feel free to make a positive comment. That's really what I'm looking for, something encouraging. And feel free to visit my site and be in touch with me about anything, about life, Torah, and growth. These are the things that I would be delighted to be in touch with you about. This is what is closest to my heart. In the meantime, please share this video with friends and family, and let's get the message out there of what it means to study Torah and how to improve ourselves and how to improve the world and our relationships with others, with ourselves, and to become closer to Hashem. Thanks again for joining me. I can't wait for another shiur, and I wish you everything of the best. Shalom, shalom. Bye-bye.